You guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody as you come in. Today, we're going to have a good topic. Today, we're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about Donald Trump, and we're going to talk about the three Black women that are holding Donald Trump accountable. I'm going to talk about this in a way that is hopefully going to enlighten you, but it's also probably going to challenge your thinking a little bit. But y'all know me, I got to be honest and I got to speak on the issue. Now, as we get started, do me a favor. Let me know. Please hit the thumbs up button. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes in the chat if you can hear me okay. Let me know if I'm coming through all right. And we're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
To drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody and thank you all for giving me the audio sound check. Y'all know sometimes I mess up with the technology, and so my goal is to make sure I'm sounding good before I start talking, because a lot of people do a lot of talking, but they sounding crazy. So I'm not trying to sound crazy. I want to sound a little bit better than crazy. So anyway, do me a favor, shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from, and also put a B1 in the chat. And just so you know, we believe in being Black and intelligent in this space. Black and intelligence is important for us. In fact, I saw a funny cartoon. I put it on my Twitter today. And it's on my Twitter. My Twitter is Dr. Boyce Watkins and the number 1, Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. So make sure you follow me on Twitter. And I saw this shared. I think Snoop Dogg shared it, and he said that intelligent people are being silenced so that we don't offend stupid people. And I said, you know what, Snoop, I think you're 100% correct. I think that's right. A lot of times we just literally silence the smart people so that the dumb people won't have their feelings get hurt. And so anyway, you can follow me on Twitter right here at Dr. Boyce Watkins 1. And I'll say hello to AO out of Sacramento. I see James out of the Bahamas. G Love, you good to go, Doc. Thank you, G Love. I appreciate you, brother. Ken Green out of Baltimore. I love Baltimore. I did a speech in Baltimore not too long ago. Good Black people in Baltimore. They had a whole Black Wall Street in Baltimore, and they lost that Black Wall Street because a lot of when they were showing me around the city, they said that a lot of the young people didn't want to take over the businesses that were run by their parents. So a lot of us, we lose wealth that way. We lose wealth by walking away from the things that we have in our community that are valuable. That's how gentrification happens, things like that. Kim Hitchcock out of Cincinnati. Good to see you. I saw El Hodge. I saw you in there, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much for coming in, as you always do. I appreciate you. 7 Mile Dim from Detroit. Let's see. Joy Bay says, unless they're working to hold everyone accountable, this is just another distraction. Well, it looks like Joy's ready to jump right into it. So y'all ready to get it cracking? Let me know if y'all ready to get it cracking. All right. So let me throw this on the screen. Now, these 3 Black women are 3 women that are in the national media right now. They're in the national media because they're in the national media because they are the women that have sort of been on the headlines for holding Donald Trump accountable. They are the ones who are responsible for some of the indictments. There's also that brother up in New York. Can't remember his name. Y'all got to put his name in the chat for me so I can remember. And these 3 Black women, I'm going to read a Black Enterprise article about these 3 Black women, very smart women. Shout out. First off, let me just start off by saying shout out to all the intelligent Black women out here. Shout out to all the educated Black women. Black women are more educated than almost anybody else on the planet. They're starting businesses at a rapid rate. And in fact, I love these sharp Black women so much that I married one. My wife happens to be a licensed therapist and one of a very small number of full professors in the entire country. Most PhDs don't become full professors, and only 1%. I want to say it's 1% of the population gets a PhD, and only about 10% of all PhDs become full professors. So my wife is a full professor and a licensed therapist, and there she is. And I love to just look at her because she's so damn cute, and she's a girl of my dreams. And I think everybody should have a smart Black woman next to you. And in fact, her website, I should put her website up if you want to see what she does. It's coachingwithdralicia.com. I can't even find the URL, but it's coachingwithdralicia.com. But anyway, with that being said, Here's the deal. So Black Enterprise, showed respect. They're kissing the ring of Black women by talking about the Black women that are holding Donald Trump accountable. And I want to ask y'all a question. First off, like, can we just take a moment before we begin, and can we sort of give an acknowledgement to the brilliant Black women in our community that are kicking ass and taking names? Just say we love you. So let's say something. Let's say words of support for Black women, because I think Black women are beaten up on a lot in our society. I think Black women are disrespected and mistreated. All those things are true, and I think it's very important that we as Black men in particular take a moment to really just acknowledge the women who raised us, the women who gave birth to us, the women who have held it down for us, the women who have fought on our behalf. Let's just do that, okay? And by the way, my wife's website up there, that's the Black woman in my life, so I'm gonna make sure I give her proper credit with her, sharing her platform. If you guys want to go check her out, she's a licensed therapist. She sees people, couples, and individuals, so feel free to go take a look. Now, let's jump into this other part of the conversation. And before I start reading this, I'm gonna ask you another question. How many of you think Donald Trump, well, I'm not going to ask you if you voted for Trump or not. That's your business. That's your right. I believe it's your right to vote for whoever you want. How many of y'all, let's raise your hand, give me a yes in the chat if you believe Donald Trump is kind of just a prick. Like, how many of you feel that Donald Trump is a prick, a jerk, an embarrassment to the country, just as a person, just as a human being? How many of you feel that he is probably a criminal? Give me a yes if you agree. I'm raising my hand because I read Donald Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, way back in 1991. That's how old I am. I'm not a kid. I'm 52. I'm a grown ass man. And I remember reading his book in 1991 and thinking, wow, this guy is such an arrogant prick. I remember thinking that, but I was like, he's a billionaire prick. And he knows a couple of things, because remember, he bought a $400 million building when he was 28 years old. You can't be stupid typically and pull something like that off, right? So, but how many of y'all agree with me if I was to say, man, that Donald Trump dude, he's a jerk. That is not a nice guy. He's probably in bed with the Russians and in bed with the gangsters and the mafia and breaking laws and using the White House to make money. How many of y'all would agree with that statement? Come on, give me a yes. Let's be honest. And if you disagree, that's okay too. Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. Just yes or no. That's all I need. Yes or no. That's the answer I want to. All right. And if you're listening on Spotify, which, by the way, if you look up my name on Spotify, you can find this podcast on Spotify. Just answer this in your head. And what I'm doing, here's what I'm doing. I'm making the bed for you. I'm laying the bed out so we can have an honest conversation about what I'm seeing here. And I lay the bed out in a certain way, because politics in the United States is sloppy. It's ridiculous. It's very petty. It's very immature. And it's really, really ignorant. It's really, really ignorant. Russians are not the only ones who pursue propaganda. The Chinese are not the only ones who have their tools of propaganda. Propaganda lives right here in the United States on a regular basis. You're constantly being lied to. You're constantly being manipulated. Black people are constantly being harmed by both political parties. That is how I feel. And anybody, by the way, anybody who says that you don't think Donald Trump could be seen as a jerk, or that you don't think he's a criminal, I'm going to disagree with you, because remember, when Donald Trump built that building, bought that building, that $400 million building in the 1970s, you couldn't even do a major construction deal like that in New York at that time without having some dealings with the mafia. Again, I'm not an expert on it, but from what I've gathered, in the 1970s, the mob controlled everything, the unions and construction and all that. So that right there. And then in addition to the fact that he spent so many years running Vegas hotels, for God's sake, and in the boxing industry, for Lord Jesus' sake, you know this man. I mean, he's probably, been wrapped up in so many things that it's hard to imagine him becoming president of the United States. It's just kind of a crazy thing. We live in a weird world. Now, with that said, I want to dive into this Black Enterprise article. This Black Enterprise article about these sisters, these three Black women, these three beautiful, intelligent Black women who have been sort of made into the poster children of, holding Donald Trump accountable. And I'm gonna put it in a context where I'm trying to state all this in a way where we can understand the balance and the nuance and not just pick a side, because this is a very complex issue. So we've agreed that Donald Trump's a jerk. We've agreed that Black women are amazing. Now let's get to it. Let me read some of this Black Enterprise article to you so we can kind of talk about this and analyze this. Do me a favor, please hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. In case you don't know, I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is an Amazon bestseller. Thank you all for supporting the book. And it is a damn good layout, me using my entire finance PhD to explain to you 10 simple things that any Black family can do to build wealth. I wrote this book for Black people. I did not write this for everybody. I wrote this for you, but there are white people that are buying this book, and Asian people that are buying this book, and Hispanic people that are buying this book, because I taught white people, Asian people, and Hispanic people when I was at Syracuse University, but I wrote this book for you. This is my gift to you. So feel free to go take a look. You can go to drboycebooks.com. My kids will ship you a copy. All right, so hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm going to read this article about these 3 Black women that are holding Donald Trump accountable. So here's what Black Enterprise says. This article is dated August 8th, 2023. That's 8 days ago from the time of this recording. It says here, following a 3rd indictment, Donald Trump has escalated his threats against his opponents, sparking concerns about the potential dangers that lie ahead. Late on August 4th, Special Counsel Jack Smith requested a protective order from the court to prevent the ex-president from publicly disclosing evidence from witnesses. In his late night court motion, Smith clarified that the proposed order aimed to prevent any improper dissemination or misuse of discovery materials, particularly to the public. He asserted that Trump's inflammatory statements could potentially intimidate and influence witnesses involved in the case. So Donald Trump is being, as you know, he's being indicted all over the place for stuff that happened during the election. And it's interesting. It's kind of getting crazy and getting kind of ghetto out there. And by the way, let me know if you guys can still see me and hear me okay, because I'm looking at my laptop's kind of doing some weird stuff right now, and it's kind of concerning me a little bit. Can you guys hear me? Give me a yes if you can still hear me and you can see me and everything else, because I'm really, when it does this weird stuff, I get a little bit nervous. All right, so here is and I promise you, some of you are getting ahead of the conversation. Some of y'all are intelligent Black people, and I got to make sure I remember that. Some of you are getting ahead of the conversation and asking questions that I think are great questions. And I want to get to all that. So let me read this and lay the bed first, and then we can dig into this. So it says here, the prosecutor highlighted a particularly concerning all caps threat that Trump made that he had posted early on Truth Social. He said, "If you go after me, I'm coming after you." So he said, moreover, the Alabama Republican Party dinner in Montgomery, Alabama on Friday evening, just a day after pleading innocent to charges related to the 2020 election, Trump declared, "I will totally obliterate the deep state." Legal experts pointed out that Trump's continued threats, even personally targeting Smith, who's overseeing 2 of Trump's cases, could be admissible as evidence against him in court. Now, what's interesting, Black Enterprise, is y'all didn't give me the names of the ladies in the picture. Y'all just called her Smith. I started reading the article from the beginning, so maybe I love Black Enterprise, but come on now. All right, so I was assuming if I read the article that the names would pop up. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Okay, so it says given, and y'all can put the names in the chat if you know the names of the 3 women. I'm gonna put the 3 ladies' images on the screen, and then I want y'all to just see if you can tell me their names, because apparently I love Black Enterprise. I know some folks over there, and I'm not here to in any way disparage them, but I need the names of these women because I want to make sure we give proper credit to where it's due. All right, so if you'll see these ladies' names, if y'all could help out and Google these names and give me these names back, that will be good. All right, so let's see. I see one person is Attorney General. Wow, come on, Black Enterprise. They literally, in the caption of one of the images of Leticia and the Attorney General in New York, they literally put New York Attorney General Leticia. That's all they put, Leticia, period. They didn't put Leticia Wilson, Leticia Jackson, Leticia. Okay, but her name is Leticia James, so let's write down that first name. I want to make sure we give the credit, because these are smart women that went to law school and stuff, and I want to make sure that that me being honest doesn't lead to people misconstruing this as some sort of attack on Black women. Let's see, which is another political tactic they like to use to shut down intelligent Black men that have something to say. They said she's the first woman of color to serve as New York's Attorney General. She's shown an unwavering commitment in investigating and prosecuting Donald Trump and his business dealings. Okay, so that's Leticia James. The second person is Fani Willis. Now, Fani Willis is she the attorney? She's the district attorney in her county. I think she's in Atlanta. Willis has navigated complex legal battles and faced pressure from various quarters, yet she has remained focused on upholding the rule of law and ensuring that all individuals, regardless of their status or influence, face the consequences of their actions. Okay. All right. So let's see. I'm looking here. They said one of them is Jamaican. I don't know which one is Jamaican, but it's okay. I'm not judging Jamaica. I have a lot of Jamaican friends. So let's keep going. The third person is U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan. Okay, Chutkan. And they said she's an exemplar of judicial integrity, shown a willingness to deliver the harshest sentences possible for those involved in January 6th insurrection. Despite the government's request for leniency in certain cases, Judge Chutkan has been unyielding in her pursuit of justice. Her decisions have sent a powerful message that attacking the core of democracy will not go unpunished. Trump immediately called for her recusal and a change of venue because he doesn't believe he will receive a fair trial, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And they said that Trump's reaction mirrors a Harvard study on black federal judges, which underscores the challenges faced by non-white judges and prosecutors in gaining recognition for their integrity and competence within the judicial system. The Harvard study found that black federal district judges are significantly more likely to be overruled than their white counterparts, even when controlling for factors like qualification, disparities, or types of cases. This suggests the presence of racial bias or implicit bias in the justice system. Okay, so based on what I've read, how many of y'all agree? How many of you would agree that black professionals that become judges, or I don't know, let's say college professors, that's what I am, are gonna be judged differently from everybody else? How many of you agree with that? Like, I like to start with the things we can rally around, so that when I state something I disagree with, people aren't going to act like they're not going to start calling me a Republican, because I'm not a Republican. Every election, I don't vote Democrat, I don't vote Republican, I vote for black people, in case you want to know who I vote for. But then again, if you don't agree, then it's still none of your business. But I'm giving you a little bit of that business to tell you that I am not at all telling black people who to vote for. Give me a yes if you understand that, because sometimes it gets misinterpreted. Sometimes people think Dr. Boyce told black people to invest in something. No, I didn't. I never tell you what to invest in. Or Dr. Boyce told black people to vote for Republicans. No, I never did that. I never told black people to vote for the Democrats. I never told black people to vote for Republicans. I don't tell black people to not vote because why? Well, guess what? Oh my God, gas. This is going to blow your mind. I believe in something called freedom of choice. I believe black people should have the thing that was promised to us 200, 300 years ago, which is freedom. That's freedom. What does freedom mean, y'all? Freedom does not mean that somebody should come along and tell you what to do. Freedom does not mean that you trade in your old pimp for a new pimp. Okay, freedom does not mean that you go from the bad oppressor to the better oppressor. Freedom does not mean that you're forced to make a choice between the lesser of two evils. Freedom means you do what you want to do. Freedom means that you take care of your family. That's the only thing I'm telling you to do, is do what's best for you. Take care of your family. And this is important because I want to ask y'all this question. Yes or no? Do you think that these elites are putting you ahead of their own families? Yes or no? Do you think that these elites are going to put your needs ahead of their own needs? Yes or no? Do you think that the people in these positions of power, whether you're talking about Democrats or Republicans, do you think that they care more about you than they care about themselves? Yes or no? So I bring all these points out because this is a hard conversation. This is a hard conversation because I'm talking about something that involves black women. And I swear, I kid you not, when I was talking about and literally warning Lizzo a few months ago, I was warning Lizzo about the promotion of obesity in a community where everybody's dying from obesity-related illnesses, and also the promotion of ratchetry, which is going to put you in very bad positions in life. I had all the white media, hundreds of white media outlets, write it up as if I was some sexist pig who hates black women. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I invest more in black women than any of those bastards have ever done in their lives. And I found it just incredibly white of you. It was incredibly white of you. I don't blame white people for being white. That's what they're going to do. I thought it was insanity that literally when a black man shows up and says, "How can I help?" you have people that say, no, your men are garbage. Get that intelligent black man out of here. Go back to twerking, Lizzo. Go back to eating bananas out of other women's coochies, Lizzo, because that's what they, in case you don't know, that's what Lizzo was accused of doing. Y'all did see the Lizzo lawsuit. Did anybody else see the Lizzo lawsuit? She was being accused of making her employee eat a banana out of another lady's cooch. I kid you not. I'm not joking. Yeah, it could have been a disease cooch, but you had to do this to keep your job. We thought that getting the jab to keep your job was bad enough. No, she said you gotta allegedly eat the banana out of the lady's cooch. Yeah. So long story short, because you have a community that I believe they deliberately turned into a fatherless community, because you have a community that I believe that they deliberately broke up your families, because you have a community where I believe they have shoved the black man to the side, locked us all up, had us all killed, and weakened us economically, and then put the women out front. You're becoming like that household where Big Mama's running everything and the son is just sitting on the couch playing Xbox. You've infantilized the black male to the point where there are people out there that don't want to respect the voice of a black man when he speaks up. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. Give me a yes if you've seen this. Give me a yes if you agree with anything that I'm saying here. Because so in this particular situation, but here's the thing: some black men can't be shut up. Some black men can't be emasculated. Some black men can't have their balls cut off in public. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I'm one of those men. I'm not a man that's going to ever allow you to convince me that somehow I need to turn into a little boy in order to make you comfortable, or I got to be a dumbass to make you to fit in with the rappers and everybody else that you've labeled and typecast. I'm a black man who has a PhD, and I'm gonna use every ounce of my PhD, every inch of my PhD to come tackle your ass every time you say something that doesn't make any sense, and I'm not gonna stop until my casket drops. Period. So what I'm saying to you is that those of you that are in that category, and those of you that cheer on these black men that do this, you have to make sure you continue to do this, because even this conversation, the fact that I'm talking about this, and I haven't even gotten really to a key point I want to make here, is something where somebody's going to mislabel what I say. That's what they do. That's politics. They're going to mislabel it, and they're going to say Dr. Boyce is a Republican who is telling black people not to vote, who also hates black women, and this is all part of the liberal objective to oppress the black community. And they pretty much position themselves as the beneficial oppressor. They're the benevolent dictator of the black community. They use you, pimp you, control you, and manage you, and pretty much shut down anything that works to truly secure something that is even remotely similar to the kind of freedom that you deserve. Okay. So anyway, let me do me a quick favor if you could. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. And this weekend, we're going to be showing a new movie that we made called B1 the Movie. And Rick Mathis is the director. The movie's really good. It stars a lot of great people: Dr. Claude Anderson, Professor James Small, and tons of other great people. We're going to be in Atlanta. I'm going to do a workshop on Saturday. It's going to be at the New Black Wall Street. We're going to be there for 4 days. I'm going to be there for about 2. I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday. But if you want to learn more, you can go to b1theexperience.com. And I'm going to put that on the screen, b1theexperience.com. And also, this film is going to be shown at the All Black National Convention this year, which is also going to be in Atlanta, October 20th through the 22nd. So b1theexperience.com. You can go take a look at that if you'd like to join us this weekend. And Rick is really running that, but I'm going to help him out and support my brother because I respect him. And if you want to come to the convention, the All Black National Convention in October, it's allblacknationalconvention.com. So you can get your discount hotel room and, market your business, whatever you'd like to do. So anyway, so let's hop back into this. So we're talking about these 3 black women that are being applauded on Black Enterprise for holding Donald Trump accountable. We've established very clearly that these women are obviously remarkable. If I look at their bios, they've gone to the best schools. They have the best training. They're incredibly good at what they do. Now, here's where I'm going to have to get off the train a little bit and say something that's probably going to piss some people off. I don't know about you, but I really get tired of black people being made into the face of anything that the white liberals want to do. I just get tired of it. I get tired. Give me a yes if you have seen this, if you've noticed this. Does anybody ever notice that there is such an effort to connect the pain of racism to their disdain for the Republicans or their disdain for Donald Trump? That they literally want to convince you, and they deliberately, systematically trigger you. They do things to try to trigger you. Like they'll say, Trump said, if you come after me, I'm coming after you. Well, hey, y'all, that means they're going to come lynching you just like they did in 1804. They coming to your house to kill y'all. Let me just tell you the truth. Here's the reality of it. Look, am I a person who would have joined the January 6th rioters on that day where they were all climbing the fence and acting a damn fool and trying to break into the White House and violate federal law? No. I would not have participated. I wouldn't have even gone to the rally. But if I was there and I saw people jumping over the fence, breaking into Nancy Pelosi's office, I would have said, I'm going to see y'all later. Y'all about to get me locked up in here. I'm going home. No, I don't agree with anything that happened on January 6th. But to sort of somehow, I still am baffled by how they have somehow construed this into some sort of white supremacist incident when there were black people in the audience. Do you know how many good, solid, high-quality black people I know who are Republicans? Seriously, and they're not coons. Many of them married a black woman, are raised in a black family, are investing more than you in the black community, and somehow you've allowed Democrats to convince you that all them Negroes is just a bunch of sellouts. How can you support Donald Trump? He's a white supremacist. Maybe he is, but I don't think Joe Biden is much less of a white supremacist than Trump. Joe Biden incarcerated more black men than any president in American history outside of slavery. So I'm trying to understand what limited amount of thinking has been impressed upon us to make us believe that if Donald Trump is our enemy, Joe Biden must be our friend. I also have a hard time accepting this idea that somehow we will allow them to take the horrible pain of racism, to take what we've gone through for the last 400 years and flip that into something that says, hey, we can use this to boost the Democratic Party agenda. Look, if you want to go after Trump, go after Trump. Look, you're going to have a problem when you start locking up your political enemies and start behaving like these really corrupt countries that settle their elections in blood. Go right ahead. That only adds to the whole long list of reasons that the United States is on its decline anyway. The country's got way too much debt. You're not educating your kids. You don't even want to build homeless shelters and mental health facilities. So you got homeless people everywhere. Your population is overweight and dying of cancer by the boatload. So just add your political dysfunction to the list. Just add it to the list because you're already messing up in 10,000 ways. You might as well throw away your democracy while you're at it, because that's what you're doing when you start locking up your political enemies. Because guess what's going to happen in the next election? When the Republicans get in power, they're going to do the same damn thing to you. And y'all can't tell me. I'm going to ask y'all a yes or no question. If you say no, you're a liar. If you say no, you're lying between your teeth. How many of y'all believe that if they were to dig into the history of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the Biden family, that they could not find an offense that would be indictable? How many of y'all believe that if they dug in, they could probably find something that they can hang their hat on? In fact, they're already trying to do it right now. They're already trying to issue indictments and subpoenas and everything else. I mean, Hunter is the ultimate crackhead. I don't know a black crackhead who was more active than Hunter Biden. And his father, ironically, was the guy who stood up and said, if we catch you with a gram or two, we're going to lock you up so long that your children won't even get a chance to see you until they're 40 years old. This is what this man said. This is what he did to you. This is what he did to your cousins and your uncles and your brothers and your siblings. And I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm not trying to be a jerk today, but I don't understand how we can just act like that never happened. The only way I can imagine, the way this makes sense is if all those studies are true, where people believe that black people don't feel as much pain as white people. And the thing is that not only do white people believe that to be true, but black people believe it to be true also. You don't prioritize your pain as much as you prioritize masses' pain. You don't prioritize your struggle the way you prioritize his struggle. You have more empathy for a white guy in Appalachia who's addicted to meth than you do for a black person in the 1990s who got hooked on crack. You just do. You have to. Because that's the only way you can look at these very blatant, very glaring disparities in terms of how drugs were treated and somehow think that that's forgivable enough that we're going to show up and make sure that you get reelected in every election because we still love you. And then some people calling him Uncle Joe and all this. I think that's crazy. I think that's certifiably insane. Again, I get it. Lesser two evils, all that. Yeah, I hear all that. But that sounds like that to me feels like oppression talk. That's oppression talk is when you just simply people offer you the choice between eating dog poop and a rotten egg, and you say, "Man, these rotten eggs are delicious." Like I love these rotten eggs. That day I'm just gonna go on a diet. That's it. I'm gonna go cook my own food. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I have a Black Investors channel. I believe that the answer to these political problems is economics. That's the answer to these political issues that you're facing. If you had an economic base and you could build your own businesses and build your own communities, then a lot of these problems will go away. And one of the things that we have, for example, in the Black Business School that's free is I have a Telegram channel for Black investors. So if you'd like to join and connect with us on Telegram, just go to drboycetelegram.com. That URL is on the screen. And let me just say this. Here's the thing. So if you go back to these women that, again, remarkable women, intelligent women, very capable women, they have a right to have whatever political agenda, political perspective that they have. I don't hold that against them. I don't hold that against anybody to choose who they want to vote for. But one of the things I will tell you is that it offends me very deeply that the struggle of Black people is used when it's convenient, that they use our pain when it's convenient. They use racism when it's convenient to label Republicans racist and Democrats as the liberators, which is a bunch of crap. But yet we're not the ones who benefit from the sacrifice. Black women got Joe Biden elected. Black women were the ones who, Black women get everybody elected. Black women will do the whole AKAs to the polls and all this other stuff, souls to the polls after church. Black women lead all of this. But I need to ask you, how is it that Black women are leading all of this, but yet Black women are the first ones to have their sons shot in the street by a cop? Black women are getting y'all elected, but Black women are the ones who got to step out into a community where they are fully unprotected because you locked up all their men, their father, their uncle, their brother, and their son. They're all locked up in prison or can't get good jobs to be able to provide for them. Black women are the ones who are getting you into office every time, but their children are being educated at a horrifically bad level. I'm talking about Democratic Party run districts. Go to almost any inner city district. I want to challenge y'all this. Even if you're mad at what I'm saying, even if you don't agree, I'm gonna issue a little challenge. I want you to go to any district that's in any urban community that is controlled by Democrats, and I want you to look at a few factors. I want you to look at the status of the economics, like average income level, average wealth level in that community. How many people own property in that community? I want you to look at education. I want you to look at how well educated the kids are. I know in Chicago, heavily Democrat. You don't get more Democrat than Chicago. But Chicago had 55 public schools that did not have one single child that could read, write, or do math at grade level. And does anybody else understand that this is a state of emergency? Does anybody agree with me that this is the stuff you should be freaked out about? This is a bigger pandemic than the pandemic. Like this is a bigger crisis than the crisis. This is an emergency situation, but y'all sit there quietly about it because every time you bring it up, they're like, "Oh, it's okay. Just make sure you vote blue no matter who, because we don't want Trump to get in office because Trump gonna show up at your house and kill you." Seriously. No, I've never seen a Trump supporter try to come to my house and kill me, but I've certainly been in the hood and been shot at in the hood. I've had a brother in the hood coming to kill me because the hood is very dangerous. Because you don't protect people in those hoods. I've been to the west side of Chicago. I've seen 12-year-olds getting shot a block away from the president of the United States' house. He doesn't live in the west side of Chicago. He lives on the south side. And on the south side of Chicago, I lived a block and a half away from Obama. I could have ran to Obama's house and back in 5 minutes when I was fat. A lot of people don't know this. Obama and Farrakhan live in the same neighborhood, same little Hyde Park neighborhood. Boyce Watkins, me, that's me. I lived in the same neighborhood as those two. Obama lived 2 blocks that way. Farrakhan lived a block and a half that way. I could have ran to both of their houses and been home in 5 minutes. And do you know that just a couple of blocks away from the president's house, there were little Black children being killed on a regular basis? Y'all do know this, right? So I'm trying to understand where's the win. I'm trying to understand what's in it for us. We know we showing up for y'all. We know that every single time something comes up with Trump or the Republicans, you're going to use race and Black people as the poster child of whatever agenda you have. We know this. We know that you're going to, and then we're going to proudly absorb this. This is what we've done since slavery. We've always been proud when we've helped massa out. That's our job. But I need to know, and it's okay. I'm not knocking this, right? I'm not knocking these women, these beautiful, intelligent women for doing a great job. But I'm trying to sit here and ask you all another question. Let me ask you this. Would they be going after Donald Trump like this if he were a Democrat? Give me a yes or no. This proves right here that it's politically motivated. This proves that it's politically motivated. This is not a matter of fighting for justice. This is not a matter of fighting for racial healing or racial equality. This is This is Democrat Republican gangster shit. That's all it is. It's just the same Crips and Bloods going at it. This is the Democrat Republican gang affiliation. That's all it is. So seriously, if Trump was a Democrat, if he was sitting exactly where Joe Biden's sitting, except he was wearing blue instead of red, Do you think that these women would be so determined to get justice, so determined to fiercely fight and make sure that righteousness wins and that evil is punished? If he was a Democrat doing the same stuff, in fact, let's double it. Let's say he was a Democrat, but he was committing double the crimes. He did double the dirt that he did. Do you think that these women would be on the cover of a magazine as these heroes seeking justice? Yes or no? Answer me. Come on. There's hundreds of y'all in the chat. I want to get an answer from everybody, even if you don't. So because and y'all know what the answer is. Sometimes I'm a little bit of an asshole. I'll ask a question when I already know the answer. That's just that's how I operate. Sorry for that. I don't want to be a jerk, but I have to lay it out and be honest with you. So my point is to say that I personally think Black people should be thoughtful about the fact that you are way too often used as political pawns for the Democratic Party. Ain't no Trump supporters I know. I don't know any Trump supporters that are out here waking up in the morning looking to hunt Black people and kill us. I'm not saying that they don't exist. The Alabama brawl went down. You got some good old boys out here, some stuff that really does pop off. But if it was happening as regularly as they make it seem that it does, Jussie Smollett would never have had to make up a story. He never would have had to lie to make up a Trump supporter story if there were all these thousands of Trump supporters executing Black people every single day. So I just want them to cut out the nonsense. And I want you to cut it out. Stop believing it. Stop believing that somehow the biggest threat in America is that a Trump supporter is going to come kill you. That's not your threat, man. Your threat is that you got neighborhoods that your Black son can't walk through without getting his dome popped off by another young Black man. This is real. This is what's really happening. And then what happens is when I talk about it, I get very frustrated because then I'll hear somebody say, well, you know, Black on Black crime doesn't exist because white people kill white people too. I'm like, well, if that's the case, then can you go back and dig up my dead friends that have been murdered by other Black people? Because I need to understand what happened. I need to understand how my homeboy Greg Wilkins got shot in the head by another Black man who was looking for drugs that he did not have, and he got murdered in front of his daughter. We need to go figure out like which Trump supporter really killed him so his daughter can get justice, because I talk to her every day and we still miss him 20-something years later. I need you to stop playing with me. Stop lying to me. Stop trying to, and here's the thing, it ain't even their fault. It ain't somebody else's fault if you stupid. It's not somebody else's fault if you're not using your head. It's our fault. It's our fault. I'm not trying to say you can't vote for who you want to vote for. Vote for whoever you want. I don't care. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying, can we start at least making some damn sense? You know, stop acting like you're making progress when you're making no progress at all. If I look at every measure of quality of life for Black people since integration, yes or no, are we doing better when it comes to education? Are our kids more educated now than they were before the civil rights movement? Are they getting better educated? Yes or no? If I were to look at Black quality of life economically, do Black people own more businesses and more property now than we did before integration? Yes or no? If I was to look at overall health, are Black people getting healthier, or is it the other direction? Yes or no? Are Black people getting healthier with each passing year with obesity and cancer and everything else? And I'm going to tell you, it's really fascinating to me that they've got such a lock on your freedom of speech and the propaganda so deep that you're not even allowed to have an honest public debate or conversation about what they might have put in that shot that they were forcing millions of people to get. We're in denial. We're not even having a conversation to find out what could have been in there. Why suddenly, and again, maybe this is all an illusion, I don't know, but why suddenly I'm seeing stories of 18, 20-year-old, healthy 20-year-olds having heart attacks and dropping dead on the basketball court? I'm not saying that it's all related. I just need an explanation. I'm not forming a premature conclusion. I just want to talk it out. And when I want to talk it out and I say, let's talk it out, and then And then you literally sit here and say, nope, there's nothing to see here. Nope, nothing to see here. Merck and Pfizer got $100 billion. Nothing to see here, people. Everything's cool. Oh, no, but by the way, we have a small clause that says that if the shot has a problem, you can't sue us, right? But we just put that in there just because, but it's 100% safe. What kind of a dummy do I have to be to sit here and let you get away with that? I don't know. I swear, I think I really every day, it kind of, the stress of being me sometimes, honestly, is like every day I have the curse of getting like a little bit smarter than I was the day before. I ain't the smartest man in the world, but I did my PhD 20 years ago. I was teaching college students when I was 23 years old. I know that's not a regular thing. I was 22, I'm sorry. And I get smarter every day. I see things a little deeper every day. And every day I get sad because I'm thinking, Lord Jesus, I think I was born on the wrong planet. I really do. I think at some point I'm gonna have to leave this country because this stuff doesn't make any sense. And what also doesn't make sense, it's not just that it doesn't make sense. What doesn't make sense is that when people explain how it doesn't make sense, there are people who are so brainwashed that they completely shut out the message before they even hear it. So this tells me that the propaganda machine is alive and well. It's very, very strong. Black people, I hate to tell you this, but you're being used as pawns. They're going to use you in every election. I can go to any Democratic run district in any inner city in America, and I will find a long list of problems that exist because nobody's solving them. I can also tell you this, when y'all start talking about reparations, that's when you're going to find out that they really don't have your back the way you think they do. That's when the rubber is going to really meet the road. When y'all start talking about reparations, the Republicans are going to say, get the hell up out of here. And the Democrats are going to say, oh yeah, we ain't giving y'all nothing. We'll accept your support for free, but we're not going to actually compensate you for what you went through. We're not going to compensate you for your support. We're not taking any ownership in what you people are doing to your communities. That's how they do. You people. I don't know what's wrong with you people. As you run around in a hip hop music industry, calling yourselves the N-word, living the most ratchet, crazy lives imaginable, and thinking that that's all normal. Like I'm a believer in this. I believe that the day the community gets better will be the day that we take responsibility for that community. The day our community gets better is when we start embracing simple ideas like good health. What does that look like? It doesn't look like eating Popeye's chicken every day and becoming 400 pounds and thinking that some jab from Pfizer is going to protect you from a virus that's going to wreak on your horrible immune system. What does that look like? It looks like us educating our own kids, not praying that the Democrat and their stupid labor unions for these teachers unions are ever going to really give a damn about a black child more than they care about their own paycheck. It's going to mean building wealth and embracing values like saving and investing or property acquisition instead of hoping that someday a Democrat's going to give you a job. I really encourage you to consider this, and I'm gonna apologize in advance for offending you. If I offended you, I'm gonna go ahead and get on that sword and apologize for offending you, because I'm hoping that if I apologize to you for offending you and admit to you that sometimes I say things in a rough, mean way, that you'll consider what I have to say. That if I give you that apology, you will give me a little bit of your attention and lend me an open mind to consider that perhaps some of what I'm saying might be true. I don't know everything, but I do know chicanery. I do know buffoonery when I see it. And when I saw this image, I said, you're not celebrating black women with this article. I love Black Enterprise, by the way. I know some people over there. They have really good people. Yeah, but this article to me doesn't celebrate black women. It's celebrating black women who agree with you. It's not celebrating black women from across the spectrum. It's celebrating black women who are Democrats. You're not honoring these black women because they're intelligent and bold and extraordinary. You're honoring them because they're willing to carry water for you, right? That's what you do with a hoe. Not that these women are hoes. They're not hoes. But I'm saying that's what you do. You say, girl, you so beautiful. You so wonderful. Girl, thank you for letting me get in the bed with you whenever I want. You so awesome, girl. Let me get some, girl. Let me get some, girl. And the minute she says, no, I'm not giving you some. I'm not here to be your garden tool. Well, then suddenly the language changes. Y'all know what I'm talking about, ladies. They, oh, yo, bitch, yo, $2 hoe, you ain't nothing. You just a raggedy blankety blank, right? That's what happens. People switch on you because they like you because you're serving them. And when you stop serving them, they don't like you anymore. They don't want to be your friend anymore. You're not beautiful anymore. So really, we got to know the difference between truly being respected versus being sort of symbolically respected because we've allowed somebody to use us. We get used in every single election. And you're not using me. I have had that experience. I have had the Obama administration and their officials call me and say, "Oh, you've got this." And it's not just the Obamas. I've had celebrities try to do this. That reach out and they'll say, "Oh, you've got this influence over the Black community. Here, do this." And I'll be like, "Why should I do that? Like, I'm not doing that. You think I'll work for you?" And that's a surprise. And I think that what it is that I think that there are people that are so um empty, and they're so interested in seeking some form of what they consider to be mainstream validation, that they will allow others to use them in order to receive that validation, even if the validation is false, and conditional. And this is why Real Legit uses the term low self-esteem. That's a great term to use here. You have to raise your child to have self-esteem, because a child that has self-esteem and a child that knows who they are is not going to let anybody just use them just so they can get into the club. A child has to have a type of confidence. And this is interesting because I think about this because my father gave me some of this. I did not have my biological father. I was born on Father's Day, but my father was not there. That's my story. Shout out to my mother for not listening to the Planned Parenthood people who told her that I would be a waste of time and that I would be a liability to her. Now I paid off my mama's house. That's how much of a liability I was to her. But at that time, she was a 16-year-old single mom with no money in her pocket. So people told her, just get rid of the little Negro and then you won't have these problems. Anyway, one thing that my dad gave me that I honor him for, and when I say my dad, I'm talking about the dad that raised me, the man who could have been out chasing vagina. He could have been out running the streets. He could have been out having 10 women, but instead he married my mother and he took me with him. Some of y'all punk ass men would call him a simp right now, but that's because you haven't grown up yet. You're still little boys, and I forgive you for being stupid. But my father raised me. And one thing that my father gave me that I really appreciate, and now that I'm looking at this, I'm seeing how valuable it is he taught me not to give a shit what people think about you. He taught me how to know who you are without needing to fit into the crowd. And he taught me how to have confidence in who you are, which is really self-love, which I think a lot of our people lack. I really believe that. I believe a lot of our people, we lack our self-love because the world teaches you as a child that all you are is a Negro until a white man acknowledges you. So then what happens is when you get acknowledged by a white guy, maybe you get some fancy job and you say, now I'm somebody. And I'm sitting there thinking, but you were somebody before they picked you for that job. You do know that, right? Well, yeah, but now I'm a senior manager for Google. Well, you know that somebody built Google. Like, you can build your own business too, just like Google built their business, right? Or now I'm an executive at UPS. Well, you know, UPS was started by two teenagers who were delivering packages on their bicycle. So, you know, your kids could probably create something just as good, but you're not able to see that because you're somehow you've been doped up with the false illusion of meaningful validation because nobody ever gave you that as a kid. Nobody gave you that confidence. And I also saw it in college. You know what I saw it in college? And I'm not here to disrespect anybody that's Greek, so I'm not making fun of you at all. I understand the networking power of being affiliated with the Greek letter organizations and the great work that's being done. But I had a lot of friends in college, and you probably know people like this, who completely ruined their entire college career, like because they were so busy trying to pledge fraternities and sororities. And they were trying to, because why? Well, because they wanted to be able to put on that pink and green jacket or put on that Alpha Phi Alpha gear or that Q Dog stuff. And literally, most of us, how many of you know at least like one Q Dog or some Kappa who literally spent 7 years in college, 8 years in college because they were trying to pledge the entire time, or they were so wrapped up in the fraternity that they weren't actually getting anything done. And when I see that that is a mental health issue. That's a mental health issue because a man who has a sense of purpose is not trying to run and chase around other men, trying to fit into a bunch of bullshit just so he can feel like he is somebody, right? And so what happened when I was invited to join every single fraternity. Every fraternity tried to recruit me when I was in college, every one of them. And the reason they tried to recruit me was not because I was a cool guy. I've never tried to be the cool guy. It was because I was the smart guy. I had the highest grade point average of every black student on the entire campus. That was when I started to discover that maybe I was intelligent. I didn't know that I had this skill. No, again, that was my void. That was my self-esteem issue. And well, once I figured it out, I remember thinking about it just from a logical perspective. And I said, okay, so what you're saying to me is that I'm going to give you all my money, which I don't have. I'm going to let you slap me around, beat me up, call me a bitch, wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning so I can walk to Taco Bell for you, and have me do a bunch of humiliating things. And what is my reward? I get to wear the same colors as you, and you're going to be my friend. But you're already my friend. I don't understand that. Like we're already friends. Like why do I have to pay for something I already have? So it never made sense to me. And the reason it didn't make sense to me now that I think about it is because I already knew who the hell I was. I didn't need to be accepted into your group in order for me to feel like I was somebody. I knew I was somebody. I could stand over here by myself and still be somebody. God made me somebody. God made you might have the power of your organization, the power of your corporation, the power of your political affiliation, but I had the power of God. That's what my mother would say. My mother said, you had the power. God told me I was somebody. My daddy told me I was somebody. My mama told me I was somebody. My mama chose to give birth to me at the age of 17, even though my biological father wasn't even there, and everybody told her to abort me. So I knew I was somebody. I already knew these things. So I don't need you to give me false validation. I didn't need it from white people. I never needed it from black people. To this day, I don't care if I ever become a mainstream public figure because I'm already doing the most important work that I could ever be doing in my life. I think that's okay. I'm sharing this because I'm wondering maybe that's something we can figure out as black people. If you know that you are worthwhile right where you are, if you know that you're important doing exactly what you're doing right now, if you know that being a mother is the most important job on earth that you could have as a human being, then you don't need to go get a job at a factory in order to prove that you're a real woman. If you know that being a dad is the greatest contribution you can make to this planet, then you don't need to go out into the world and impress a bunch of people who don't mean shit in order to be somebody. If you know that in your community that's where you're needed, that's where you're valued, that's where your work is the most relevant, then when the white man comes a calling and says, hey, boy, we want you to come work across town, we want you to come work for our corporation, you're going to say thank you, but no thank you, because I'm doing my most important work right here. And one of the problems that we have, and this is what sparked, these are all the emotions that sparked in me when I saw that image of these black women working on behalf of the Democratic Party. I said, man, how amazing these women would be as assets to the black community. Can you imagine if every black person on earth spent as much time working for black folks as we spend working for white folks? Can y'all imagine? Just imagine that for a moment. Imagine if these 3 brilliant, gorgeous, extraordinary black women, I'm not taking nothing from all of them. Imagine if all they did when they woke up in the morning and before they went to bed was said, how can I make life better for the black community? Can you imagine how great we would be? Imagine if so what I'm doing is really calling home all the smart black people that have all the fancy degrees, all the letters behind your name, all these accolades, all these seemingly important corporate positions. And I'm saying to you, you should probably at some point try to come home. You know, I just don't get it. If you are, I don't see where black people benefit if you're spending all your time doing things for the Democratic Party. That almost makes me think about like somebody who has a family who's starving, who doesn't have any food, and you get a job at Burger King. And everybody says, man, this is going to be great. Man, you working at Burger King now. You can feed the whole hood with Burger King. Put aside the fact that Burger King is unhealthy food. Let's pretend like it's health food. Okay. And so then your cousin comes in and says, hey, man, I heard you got that job at Burger King. We hungry. Can we get a couple burgers? And you say, man, I got my Burger King uniform on. If I get caught giving you any food, I'm going to lose my job. Well, what good is it if you work at a restaurant if your family's starving and you can't share any of the food? You're working hard, but you're working hard on behalf of Burger King. You got the Burger King uniform on. So the whole black community, in my view, is filled with a bunch of black people wearing Burger King uniforms. You're not working for your people. That's why your people don't have anything. You're not working for your community. That's why your community doesn't have any industry. Your community doesn't have any infrastructure. Your community doesn't have any businesses. because everybody gets up and you leave your community so you can go work for somebody else, or whether it's the Democratic Party, or whether it's the McDonald's Corporation, or whatever corporation that you. And this is all part of not just a process of economic depravity that puts us in that situation, right? If you did little things like invest for your children, they wouldn't have to sell out like that. But it's also a self-esteem issue. White folks have a brand value that you don't feel like you have yourself. And this was all wired into you when you were a kid. You feel better as a human being when you went to Brown University to get that degree, and then you went to go work at Goldman Sachs, right? So now that you went to Brown and you work at Goldman Sachs, so you're $100,000 in debt to Brown. Now you're working at Goldman Sachs. You're working on behalf of this Jewish-owned firm and working on behalf of their families. You feel like you are somebody. And in your mind, you always fundamentally believe that you were less important before Goldman Sachs accepted you. And I'm the guy who just simply, I'm the smart ass in the room who says, who gives a fuck what Goldman Sachs thinks about you? Who cares? Why is it that their opinion is more important than the opinion of your mama and your daddy and your cousins and your kinfolk? Why is it that his opinion matters more than mine? Why do you care more about what he thinks about you than what I think about you? Maybe that's because you're also a white supremacist. See, you make the mistake. You think that only white people can be white supremacists, but no, white supremacy only works if both white and black people agree to it. White supremacy only works if two sides agree that one side is going to be superior. Because if one side doesn't agree, then it doesn't work anymore. And then let me give you an example. Let me help you understand this. If the Dallas Cowboys are going to play against the Seattle Seahawks in football, and the Dallas Cowboys football players are very confident. So if they come in and if they come in and they say we're superior to the Seahawks are going to say, well, fuck you. We're superior to you. The Seahawks are going to say, no. You think you're the supreme team, but we're actually the supreme team. And then what happens is that they have to settle it on the field. And then each team that believes they're superior is going to actually have to prove it. So that's very different from imagine though if the Dallas Cowboys convinced the Seahawks before the game that we're superior. What if they just showed up and they were so good that the Seahawks said, man, we can't play them. They too fast. They too strong. We might as well go ahead and forfeit the game. Then that would be a different outcome. That's when they both agree. That's a two-person team. So not only do the Cowboys have to believe they're superior, but the Seahawks have to believe it too. And then at that point, you forfeit the game, and then everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. So with black people, that's what happens. They're the Cowboys. You're the Seahawks. They show up and they say, we're white. We're special. We're superior to you. And you say, yeah. Y'all got all the businesses and y'all got all the money and y'all sound so intelligent and we can't compete with that. So then you don't even try to compete. You just surrender. You forfeit the game. You don't go out and compete again. But this is not your fault. Books like Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson. He talks about how you were trained since slavery to be a very loyal and uncompetitive group of people. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. We're reading Powernomics books. We're reading Dr. Claude Anderson's books in the Black Business School every Wednesday night. Literally, I wanted to make sure everybody had no excuse for now. I was like, I'll even read the books to you because you need to learn where this comes from. You need to learn where white supremacy truly comes from. And what has to also occur is you must take accountability for your role in the process too. Don't put yourself so much in the victim box that you believe things only happen to you and that you have no say in anything that happens to you. That is not true. That is simply not true. You have power too. And the problem is that we use our power to support white supremacy and then we complain about it. We sign up for it every time. We submit to it every time. We believe in white supremacy sometimes more than white people do. We do. I'll give you an example. If a white person walks up to a black person and says, you know what, I don't like niggers. I bet you that at least 50% of the black people that he says that to are going to go ballistic. Oh, hell no. No, you didn't say that. I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail today. I'm jack you up, man. So I'm sitting here. So what freaks me out is I'm sitting here thinking, so you really are willing to go to jail because some ignorant hillbilly came up and said he doesn't like you. You have that much respect for his opinion that you somehow believe that him disrespecting you is worth you embarrassing yourself, distracting yourself from whatever you were doing, taking you off your game, embarrassing you in front of your kids. You really willing to do all that because of the opinion of a stranger who has no relevance anywhere else in life other than the fact that he can get in your head and fuck you up. Do you understand what I'm saying? You gave him his relevance. You made him important. You made him significant. You made him a player. You made him more than what he was before he walked up to you. Before that, he was a toothless, ignorant hillbilly whose opinion meant nothing to anybody. But now you've made him into somebody. So that's my point. You two are a white supremacist, because if a black person comes up and says they don't like you, well, you ignore that. Oh, that's just a Negro. That Negro just talking. Or when a rapper calls you the N-word, you dance to that. You like that. You like when the rapper calls you the N-word. But a white boy says it, oh, Lord, I'm kicking your ass today. We gonna fight. We got to fight. That also is part of what D1 talks about. The rapper D1, he talks about cognitive dissonance. Y'all, I hope y'all know something about that. The cognitive dissonance is extraordinary. And again, I believe it's because you've allowed them to put you into the victim box. When you get put in the victim box in this society, you're not trained to have accountability for anything that happens to you, because there's too much profit in being the victim all the time. And that's where Lizzo's running into problems, because Lizzo became the person that empowered the victims, but now she's got her victims of her own. So she can't be the victim of the other victims. Somebody's got to be the victim. Somebody's got to be the oppressor. So now Lizzo has been flipped into the oppressor because she surrounded herself with a lot of other people who were rallying around her victimhood. That's what was going on. They were rallying around the victimhood, which is very fascinating to me. I was very confusing to me, to be honest with you. I never understood. I've always seen women as very powerful. I believe that women can move mountains. Women have an extraordinary level of power that God gives them, sometimes more powerful than men. So I never understood how feminism was wrapped around this sort of victimhood of what happens to you because you're a woman, but at the same time, you're doing things that are just so harmful to so many other people at the same time. I think with Lizzo, there was nothing about Lizzo and how she lived and how her friends lived that said victim to me, or that somehow they were powerless. Lizzo was very powerful. Her group of women were very powerful. They did whatever they wanted. But then what happens is that you stay in the victim box, because then when something bad happens to you, even if you caused it, you can still blame it on somebody else. You can blame it on men, you can blame it on society, you can blame it on whatever. And the thing about Lizzo that's fascinating to me is that when everything went down for her, there was no man around to blame. So they just say, well, you're the rich person here, so you're going to become our substitute for the man. You're now the person we're going to blame for the choices that we made while we were on tour with you. So this is what I see, and this is what I believe, and I apologize in advance if it offends anybody, but I'm not apologizing that hard, because I think at some point somebody's gonna have to tell the truth. Somebody's gonna have to tell the truth, and a lot of this double standard and hypocrisy, it shows itself in the fact that you have been consistently voting for the same politicians in every election, doing their dirty work, carrying water for them, representing their interests, and yet your community is in complete shambles. Your families are in shambles. Your economics is in shambles. Your health is in shambles. Your educational process is in shambles. The only way Black people will ever be healthy is when Black people stop letting corporations control your health, stop letting the government control your health. You have to control your health. If you start controlling your health, then you will have a chance to be healthy. The healthiest Black people I know are the ones who don't eat the shit that's advertised to them on TV. They were questioning anything that they put into their body, whether it's a jab or anything else, and they are consciously controlling how they eat, how they live, and how they work out, and all these other things. They were breaking away from the culture, breaking away from the politics, breaking away from corporate America. Those people tend to be healthy. The most highly educated Black people I know are the ones who were educated more outside of the system than the ones who were educated within the system. Those who are educated within the system are extremely, extremely limited, because that what you think is education is actually brainwashing. That's all it is. It's indoctrination. It's preparing you for a society where you're going to be a corporate slave. You're going to pay rent to a white landlord. You're going to give all your money to purchase consumer items, and you're going to die in debt. That is the plan for you, because that's how rich people stay rich. That's how America stays powerful, is by manipulating the minds of millions of people. And in fact, I dare to even say, and I hate saying it like this, but about 70% of you that are listening to this are not going to hear anything that I'm saying right now. It's just true. There's studies that show that 70% of all people follow the crowd, even if the crowd is wrong. They said 70 to 80% of all people will follow an authority, even if the authority is wrong. So what I'm saying to that 20-30% of you that are thinking about breaking away from that, I'm encouraging you to be conscious about doing that, and I'm giving you some tools to help you do that, right? So educate your own kids, create your own business. Don't worry about corporate America and all that stuff. Also, when it comes to your health, you're going to have to control that. The FDA is not going to do it. Corporate America is not going to do it. They're going to put profits above people. That's what they've always done. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. That's what I believe, and I'm sticking with it. And thank you guys for listening. And by the way, my website is boycewatkins.com. If you want to join us at the All Black National Convention, we're going to meet October 20th in Atlanta. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can actually market your business. You can be a vendor at the convention or whatever it is you want to do. Also, I'll be in Atlanta this week. We're going to show our film. Rizza Islam is going to be there, and a few other great people, Les Brown and some others. Rick Mathis is the director of this new film called B1 the Movie. Boyce Watkins Films. I think we're on our 7th production, and so we're doing it. I've talked to you guys about what media and what the entertainment industry does not do. So we make our own movies, and so the latest is called B1 the Movie. It's extremely good, and so I hope you'll come check it out. I'll be in Atlanta. I'll do a workshop on Saturday at the New Black Wall Street, and then on Sunday we're going to show the movie. Also, last but not least, I have a new book out. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It is an Amazon bestseller, and I'm very proud of that because we're independent. We don't have book deals and publishing deals and all that stuff. We do it all ourselves, and also my kids will ship the book to you. So if you'd like to take a look at the book or any of my other book series, Black American Money, I have a book called Financial Lovemaking about money and relationships, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. And here's something free you can have. If you haven't gotten on our text list, if you want me to send you profit alerts of stocks that I like or things that I'm invested in, feel free to text the word stock to 31996. I believe that every Black person that's intelligent should be a consistent investor. I believe that we have to change our habits when it comes to economics. And I believe that if we do that now, if we change our economic habits now, our children will have some small opportunity, or maybe a big opportunity, to have the freedom that we don't quite have in this particular generation. So this is a multi-generational plan. Just text the word stock to 31996 and I'll send you profit alerts. And I'll also send you our $5 a day investing plan and also a training I did on how to make money without working, because you guys know my PhDs in finance. I want to share things with you, and I hope that you can be successful. And in fact, tonight we're doing a stock options training camp. So if you still want to join the stock options training camp, the link to join is on my Telegram page. So if you go to drboycetelegram.com, you can find the link there. And also I'll text it out to the list too, in case anybody wants to join at the last minute. We're going to meet tonight and then meet again next week. We're going to talk all about stock options. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And again, if anybody was offended by anything I said, just take it with a grain of salt. It's totally fine. You can disagree. It's all right. Just lend me your ear. Listen to me, and I will listen to you. I think we need to listen to each other, and I think we all need to talk. That's how we share the best ideas. So have a good day, everybody. I'll see you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.